My Gavanin, folks. Today we have yet another absolute beast of an integral. We have the integral from 0 to 1 of arctangent 1 over root x times 1 minus x dx. Fascinating. We'd first like to do something about the root x and root 1 minus x terms. So a viable strategy could be to let x here equal sine square theta, which implies that dx equals 2 sine theta cosine theta d theta. And as far as the limits are concerned, x approaching 0 implies that theta approaches 0, and x approaching 1 implies that theta approaches pi over 2. So this implies that I here transforms into the integral from 0 to pi over 2 of arctangent 1 over root sine square theta times 1 minus sine square theta. And we have a 2 sine theta, but I do need some writing space. Much better. Cosine theta d theta. Now, 1 minus sine square is cosine square, so that means we have integral 0 to pi over 2 arctangent 1 over sine theta times cosine theta. And outside we have this 2 sine theta cosine theta term being multiplied, which is interesting. So now we have structures of the form of sine 2 theta. And to make that even more clear, I'm going to expand using a factor of 2. So we have 2 upstairs and downstairs. So that gives us integral 0 to pi over 2 arctangent 2 over sine 2 theta times sine 2 theta d theta. And I'm going to rewrite this using the cosecant function. So we finally have I defined as the integral from 0 to pi over 2, terribly sorry about that, of arctangent 2 cosecant 2 theta over, well, cosecant 2 theta d theta. Which is interesting, but how on earth are we going to evaluate this thing? Well, it looks like we could evaluate a generalized case. That is, we could define the integral function I of a parameter alpha as the integral from 0 to pi over 2 of arctangent alpha cosecant 2 theta over cosecant 2 theta d theta. And this does make sense, because now I can differentiate the arctangent, and the arctangent has a really cool derivative. So differentiating with respect to the alpha parameter yields on the left-hand side I prime of alpha, and on the right we have, on switching up the order of the integration and differentiation operators, integral 0 to pi over 2 partial derivative with respect to alpha arctangent alpha cosecant 2 theta over cosecant 2 theta, terribly sorry about that, d theta. Now, differentiating with respect to alpha yields integral 0 to pi over 2. We have this 1 over cosecant 2 theta, which is, of course, independent of alpha. And like I said, the derivative of the arctangent is pretty cool. It is 1 over, well, something over 1 plus the square of the argument, so alpha squared cosecant squared 2 theta. And by the chain rule, we have this cosecant 2 theta term up top, which cancels out quite nicely. So I have a considerably more hospitable looking integral that I would now like to rewrite in terms of signs. So if I expand upstairs and downstairs using sine squared 2 theta, I will have the integral from 0 to pi over 2 of sine squared 2 theta over, well, alpha squared plus sine squared 2 theta d theta. Now we could make the obvious transformation from the 2 theta to the theta realm, and that would be nice because now we have I prime of alpha defined as the integral from 0 to 2 times pi over 2 is supposed to be pi. Then we have sine squared theta over alpha squared plus sine squared theta, and d theta should be chopped in half. Yeah, I think it's more convenient to use a U substitution, but I did not want to rename the dummy variable and then rename it back, but yeah, if you let 2 theta equals u or something like that, this is exactly what you'll get. It works out the same way. You can rename the dummy variable to whatever you want, which is why I just like transformations of this sort, just mark them by an arrow or something. Anyway, so that's the derivative of I with respect to alpha. And something cool about it is that we have sine functions. Now, we know about sine functions that they are symmetric about the line x equals pi over 2. So instead of integrating from 0 to pi, we could just integrate from 0 to pi over 2 and double the result. So we have 1/2 times twice the integral from 0 to pi over 2 of sine squared theta over alpha squared plus sine squared theta d theta, some lovely cancellation once again. And now to evaluate the target integral, I could expand by 0 in the numerator, and the version of 0 I'd like is alpha squared plus negative alpha squared. And that, of course, has the benefit of further simplifying our calculations. So using the linearity of the integration operator, we have integral 0 to pi over 2 d theta minus integral 0 to pi over 2 times alpha squared, that is, d theta over alpha squared plus sine squared theta. The first integral, of course, converges to pi over 2, and for the second integral, I like solving these kind of integrals, these kind of trig integrals, by introducing tangents. So I'm going to expand using secant square theta. The reason for that being that, well, sine times secant is, of course, tangent. And tangents and squared secants go quite well with each other. So we have pi over 2 minus alpha squared integral 0 to pi over 2 secant square theta d theta over alpha squared times secant square being 1 plus tangent square, plus tangent square theta. I'm just quickly going through the simplifications there. And now I have quite a nice candidate for another transformation. So we'll let tangent square theta, terribly sorry about that, tangent square theta equal u, rather wait, all I need is tangent theta equal to u. That will suffice, because this will imply that secant square theta d theta equals du. And of course the limits as theta approaches 0, we have u approaching 0, and as theta approaches pi over 2, the tangent function, that is u in this case, approaches positive infinity. So this implies that I prime of alpha equals pi over 2 minus alpha squared integral 0 to infinity du over what exactly? We have alpha squared times 1 plus u squared plus u squared, and it would be a good idea to somehow collect the u squared terms. So we have pi over 2 minus alpha squared integral 0 to infinity du over, let's see what we got. We got u squared, and we can factor out u squared and leave behind 1 plus alpha squared, and then we have alpha squared over here. Looks like I have not messed anything up yet, and this equals pi over 2 minus alpha squared. From the denominator, I'm going to factor out 1 plus alpha squared. So we have 1 plus alpha squared integral 0 to infinity du over u squared plus alpha squared over 1 plus alpha squared, which is absolutely beautiful because that's an arctangent integral. All of this implies that I prime of alpha, terribly sorry about that, equals pi over 2 minus alpha squared over 1 plus alpha squared times the, we need the reciprocal of this term and a square root. So we have root 1 plus alpha squared over alpha. And of course, we have the arctangent of u times 1 plus alpha squared over alpha. And I'm going to need a bit more writing space so I can show the limits being 0 and infinity. Okay, cool. Things look good so far. I have some cancellation. I have pi over 2 minus alpha over root 1 plus alpha squared. And the arctangent as its argument approaches infinity. This thing approaches pi over 2, and for the 0 limit, again, we have a 0, which is awesome. So I can factor out pi over 2 here, and we're left with 1 minus alpha over root 1 plus alpha squared as the derivative of I with respect to alpha. And we can now recover back the integral function by integrating with respect to alpha. So on the left-hand side, we have I of alpha, and on the right, we have pi over 2 times alpha minus, this thing should sort out to, wait, if you differentiate, root 1 plus alpha squared, 2's cancel out. Yeah, we should be left with root 1 plus alpha squared plus a constant of integration c, which is pretty straightforward to determine if we go back to the way we defined the integral function. Where is it? Oh yeah, over here. So for the case of alpha being 0, notice that we would have the arctangent of 0, and the entire thing, and the integrand would collapse to 0. Hence, the integral function evaluated at alpha equal to 0 is 0. So for alpha equal to 0, we have I of alpha equal to 0, which implies that 0 equals pi over 2 times 0 minus root 1 plus c. And this implies that c here equals pi over 2. Yeah, there's a negative sign there. Perfect. This thing equals pi over 2, which is again convenient because we can factor it out. And this implies that I of alpha is just pi over 2 times what exactly? Alpha, okay. It's 1 plus alpha minus root 1 plus alpha squared. That looks pretty cool. So the target case being alpha equal to 2, so we have the integral from 0 to 1 of arctangent 1 over root x times 1 minus x dx equal to pi over 2 times 1 plus 2, that's 3, last time I checked, minus root 5. And the root 5 over there makes me wonder if the result could be expressed in terms of the golden ratio in one way or another. I haven't tried yet. Please confirm if this is the case in the comment section. I hope you enjoyed the video. Be sure to like and subscribe. Thank you. See you next time.